Hello, good morning, everybody. I welcome very warmly our audience and first of all, our panelists today for the discussion, the transmission of values in the digital age. As much we want and need to develop the artificial intelligence, data and digital economy, as more we have to discuss about values, the common goods, the good for all, and human-centric development. I think it's crucial. In Europe, it's clear that there are two crucial references for values. It's Christianity and Enlightenment heritage. And we can say that in many countries, in many regions, cultural heritage is very crucial for building the values. Values are present in constitutions, in treaties, in conventions. Looking for human-centric and trustworthy technologies, we should discuss about ethical dimension, and I hope we will discuss today about those issues, about respect for fundamental rights and sustainable development. We need to discuss about participatory and interactions between humans and technology providers, avoiding the information asymmetry. And also we need to discuss about guarantees, mixed guarantees coming from fundamental rights and consumers' rights, if we are talking about values. So this is a very important area. And I think, and thank you very much for our guests today and on the other hand, our host, core values, because it's fantastic work done by this organization. So we will have also the opportunity to know more about the activity at that area. We will start with opening interventions. Firstly, I want to ask Paul Rubik, President of SME Connect, member of European Economic Social Committee, member of European Parliament from 1996 to 2019. All the screen is yours.
Yes, Michael, thank you so much. As colleagues, we know how important it is to debate future issues, and the transmission of values in the digital age, of course, will have heavy impact on how our social life will be considered in the future. So I was now writing a report for the European Economic and Social Committee on the European research area. And, you know, if we want to get 3% of the GDP for this area, it would mean a 450 billion effort to be taken into research and scientific issues. So we always should think, what can we do with these results out of the scientific work? And of course, we have to transfer research and development results into certain kinds of services, products, and of course, into new digital business models. We have learned that business models are from utmost importance and that Europe is lagging behind. I'm also working on a report for a new action plan for intellectual property. And as a former member and chair of the STOA committee, the Scientific Technology Options Assessment of European Parliament, we also had a very nice study, and I think it was the first in the world, on ethics in cyber physical systems. So ethics in robotics. And it led to a global debate on how these new digital business models, all the data harvesting, the data sharing, how it will change our society. And we know that the change goes from the Green Deal and digitalization to the SDGs. And Rita knows exactly how important these SDGs are, because if we look that 2 billion people have no access to clean water, that 80% have no access to real sanitation, If you see that sanitation plays a key role in the health of the people and could reduce the costs in the health and social area dramatically, we have to see how we can be better engaged in this area. And the intellectual property will play a key role in having also success for the people on the globe and in the global development. We see that up to 50% of new patents are coming from China and only 5% out of Europe anymore. So in a mobile phone, you have, I don't know how many patents, but it's thousands of patents which are within a mobile phone. And so we have to take care that Europe as an innovation leader will come back on track, and we need all these innovation agencies. I'm also board member of the European Institute of Technology in Hungary, and now we are working closely together with EIC, with the European Innovation Council, to see what we can do. So a lot of questions we had in the Economic and Social Committee between entrepreneurs and employees and people who want to be in the diversity group. And I transformed the questions between these two sides from an or into an and. So excellence in basic research and development, and speed in transferring research and development results into business. Because there was always a debate, either we have excellence in research or we want to have speed in transferring. I think we need both. So we need to build a bridge between these two areas. And we also have to put a bridge to the technology push innovation to the market pull innovation. Technology push, market pull. I think that's quite crucial. And the excellent education of Europe's people in basic science, of course, is necessary in the MINT services and entrepreneurship. So coming to an end, I think this new structure will help us to be strong in the transmission of values, of democracy, of building trust to each other, and to live in peace. And therefore, the research results also out of the social dimension will help us to explain to the people how we could do better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul, especially for this important message. Not all, but and. It means that we need to cooperate between business, innovators, workers, people, and so on and so on. It's crucial. Now I want to give the floor Ivan Stefanec, President of SME Europe, member of the European Parliament, member of the Special Committee on Artificial Intelligence in Digital Age, and substitute member of the delegation for relations with Japan. Ivan, please.
Thank you very much, Michał. It's my privilege to talk to you today. Really good morning, everybody. I do believe that all of us, we understand how important is digital world. Now during pandemic, it is even more important. What was expected to be reality in 10 years, now it becomes to be reality in 1 or 2. So where is the place of core values like human dignity, ethics in this challenge, and how to shape legislation for digital 21st century? That's very on-time issue. I really do believe that we can help us to succeed in this mission, to focus again on the verified values that secured our society with 70 years of peace and prosperity. And from my point of view, it's a model of Christian democracy based on social teaching supported by several encyclical publications like Rerum Novarum or Laudato Si. I think it's very important, and I have to say that on the ground of our EPP group in the European Parliament, we have prepared the position paper about Christian democracy, and we are ready to talk about this issue also at the conference for future of Europe. I'd like to stress out shortly 3 points which are very important from my point of view. First one is also in this discussion, we shouldn't forget SMEs. Also, it's my duty as the president of SME Europe to focus on small and medium entrepreneurs. But those people, though they are creators of jobs, most jobs are created in the European Union, but by SMEs. So we should still create the best environment for SMEs. We shouldn't forget about that. Secondly, if we talk about digital transmission and digital world and about the values, I think it's very important to have compatible offline and online world. We should be not only compatible, I think we should harmonize this legislation. What is legal offline, it should be legal online, and vice versa. What is illegal online, it should be illegal offline. I think it's a challenge which we focus on nowadays in the European Parliament by working on DSA and DMA files. Thirdly, last but not least, I think we shouldn't forget that human being is the most important decision maker. So now, talking about big data, talking about implementation of artificial intelligence techniques, we shouldn't forget that at the end, this is human being which should stay as decision maker. And all those new techniques, all those new great tools should be as the aid for final decision making, which cannot be replaced by any kind of artificial intelligence. Human being should be still in focus, and human being should stay as decision maker at the end. I'm looking forward to today's discussion, and thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Ivan. I think it's important because you as a member of the European Parliament expressed very strongly that we need to have and harmonize online and offline solutions. What is legal and illegal should be the same in those two areas, virtual and real. And I think it is also important that we need to keep control as humans over technologies. It's a very strong message. And now I want to give the screen to Marco Frattini, President of Core Values Org. Marco, please, the screen is yours.
Thank you. I would like to thank President Rubig, President Stefanek, our friends host Heinz from SME Connect, our friend Alfonso Montanarini, all the speakers and all the people been here attending this meeting. As president of Core Values Org, I'm honored to be part of this important meeting on the issues that we consider essential in the historical moment we are living. Our Vice President will have the opportunity during this conference to talk about the nature, identity, and purpose of Core Values Org. I'm sure we could develop different synergies together, and we could increase more and more year after year. Special thanks to our partner, AT&T, Fonte, our friend Maurizio Grifoni, Confcommercio, Manager Italia with the President Parmigiano Reggiano for this support and collaboration in our common projects. I'm sure this conference will lead us to a more effective collaboration. Good continuation of work to everybody.
Thank you very much, Marco. I think now we can continue our discussion and develop our knowledge about Core Values Org. So I want to give the floor to Javier Fis Perez, Vice President of Core Values Org, President of the Ibero-American Observatory for the Development of the Real Sustainable Economy. Please, Javier, I think it's very important. This is a keynote speech today, so we are ready to listen to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Boni, and thank you, of course, to President Paul, Rubik, and President Ivan Stefanek for your introduction, because we can see that really we have an amazing affinity. So we are working on the same direction with perhaps different methodologies, but the final goals are really the same. So we are really very happy to start working with you, speaking about the priorities we have. Let me show you some slides just in order to have a very clear presentation, given that we have short minutes to say important things. The most important aspect I would like to subscribe here is the history we have as a background, okay? Because the finality that we are looking for as a core values is something that perhaps everybody now is thinking about. We think about quality of life, we think about the human being, we think about the quality of relationships we have between humans, and at the same time we are living in a very important revolution, digital revolution, technological revolution that is at the same time very good as a tool, okay? If we use these tools in the right way, we could improve many, many positive things for all the world. That's why I'm going to present these 3 points, something about digital age, because it's the main goal of core values, and of course about technology related to education. For the same points, President Paul and President Ivan were speaking first, and then something about finance or real economy, because at the end we need the resources to develop all these initiatives. Let me start with a very short introduction about the nature, the history of core values, because core values with our president, Marco Frattini, with an amazing team, with our president, Maurizio Grifoni, Enrico Molineri, and of course, Alfonso Montanarini, and many, many, many friends. Everything starts thinking about this publication in 2000 about Health Chapter that you know very well. From that moment, everybody started working about sustainability, the importance of social values, and so on. And as you know, then with the Holy Father, with the Laudato Si, it's the number 207 on a specific citation about Health Chapter, start speaking again and again about this very important argument. Thinking about especially integral ecology. That means the importance of ecology, we know this of course, but thinking also about the human being, because ecology is very important also because we are on this planet, and human being has to look also for equality and quality of life. You know perfectly that then we find these 17 Sustainable Development Goals from Organization United Nations. And that's why with this connection, that is of course something very good for Christians, but let me tell you that is something important for everybody. Okay, we believe in human values. We believe in the importance of quality of life of every life. And this is something good for every human being, not only for transcendental values or creed. Something about our history, the meaning that given that arguments are so important, in the 2016, Marco Frattini with all the team put together Eric Smith with the Holy Father in order to have a conversation about these arguments, because Laudato Si speaks about the importance to create a positive culture for everybody, every country, every continent. So you can imagine how important is the field of communication. After this encounter, we have another encounter in November, where the most important CEOs and presidents of communication fields, WPP, Publicis, Dentsu, Discovery Communication, Google, and so on, had the possibility to meet personally the Holy Father and to speak about this. The Holy Father was very clear. He was speaking about to offer a caress to the heart of every suffering human being, to avoid to live without affection. This is a risk. and start speaking about a new beginning for the human being. That's why integral ecology, this is the right context for us, is a priority, and good for all, common good, something that should be present in our thoughts. We have the intelligence to do many things. We have the technology, and technology is something really amazing. And we, human being, is going to develop this technology every year, every moment. But we need to think also about innovation in the humanistic approach. Okay, and this is the main mission of core values: to put together different cultures, creating bridges. We're speaking with these leaders in economic field, communication field, to think about something that is good for everybody. We are speaking about the common good. Something very shortly about digital age. We are living in this moment, this amazing historical moment that is really very positive. Let me tell you that we believe in the positive approach of this digital revolution, because we know personally how positive this could be and is going to be in the work-life context, personal life, and many aspects. But we can see that we have some benefits, a lot of benefits, and at the same time we could have some disadvantage. These tools all depends on the finality and the way we use it. So that's why this humanistic approach that you know very well for us is very important. We try to improve this quality of life in an integral way. It's not an economic development or a finance development. It's a social development, family development, personal development, speaking in every aspect of the human life. Some challenge from observation to application, because the most important thing is to be conscious about these 5 billion people connected around the world. So digitalization is a must, is a way to be in touch everybody with a high quality of communication also, okay? Because today we are living a dream. We have this possibility of staying together with everybody if we use the right way this digitalization. You know very well this argument, but some questions are really important. For example, to think about the stability of our planet, to think about the quality of life of the states and also the population, to think about the private life. Okay, there are many questions that is of course very important to think together about this. We have not too much time, so I need to go on, but I know that you understand very well these arguments. Speaking about technology and education, this is our focus, as you know very well, because the beauty of human being, the amazing values that we have in our Occidental culture. Europe has an amazing philosophy, anthropology. We have an amazing history, and we know many things also by experience after 2 millennia, okay, of different experiences. So to think about this beauty of human being is of the nature of the human being is the best way to think about working together, thinking about the common ground we have. So the best technology today we have, of course, means also digitalization, artificial intelligence, robotics, 5G, 6G, you know this very well. The anthropological and social dimension should be the priority. At the end, we are going to do everything for the human being. Let's think about next generation. Let's think about the actual generation, because every week, every month, something is changing. This revolutionary approach of technology that could be really very, very positive is changing our lives day after day. So we think about next generation in the sense that depends of what we are going to do today, the way, the quality of life we will find next generation. Technology could be a part of everybody, but we know for sure that it's not the way to resolve problems. An instrument, a tool, is not more than a tool. So the resolution of the problems is something very concrete to do when you use the right tools with the right goals, and finalities. Intentionality. What is the meaning? What is the sense of all these human activities we are developing? Never a tool will be the main root or cause of a resolution of a problem. The human being, the intelligence, the human intelligence is the real cause for a resolution of a problem, thanks to the tools that can accelerate, of course, with a powerful efficacy, all the procedures. So human values is the key, as you know very well, to think about the future of humans and societies. You can see in this picture below, to the right, this very important encounter that core values help to organize the G7. It's a world meeting universities, the most important universities around the world. It's in Italy some years ago. And that's why we think also that it's important to put together science, technology, human being, human nature, creating really a team building. Okay, you know the importance of soft skills in our organizations. We need the hard skills in order to develop the specific fields of application, but we need also these soft skills, the way we interact between us. So from the logic of damage control, you know this very well, to this development of new humanistic approach, thanks to our thoughts, thanks to research, thanks to entrepreneur approach, organization, political approach, and really in this sense, we are so happy to be part of EPP family because we think that it's so important for Europe, for the identity of our continent, to think about the values we can really share with everybody. We have different religions, different traditions, different languages, but we are human beings. And EPP could do amazing things. It's working in an amazing way to do this, and we are happy to help in this sense. Something about finance and real economy in this context of integral ecology. We thank you also, our president, Maurizio Grifoni, that is here with us because he's helping core values in a very important way, trying to understand the way finance works around the world. He's the president of a very important pension fund, and he knows very well the logics, the international logics. So, and that's why we work together, because it's not only a question of having the right ideas or the reach from the universities, but to know exactly the logics we have around the world. The importance of new models of economy and finance, where we think about something that is going to help everybody, and not only finance for finance, but a real economy. And SME is amazing in this sense, because it's the small and medium entrepreneur activities that really is going to give also quality of life for families and for all the workers. So you know that sometimes finance is not helping local economy if they are looking for different goals, but if we try to work together, should be something positive also for finance. And there is a lot of research about this. I don't have the time to show you many of these arguments, in which the application of ESG principles offer an amazing results also for finance and not only for real economy, but working together is really the key. Integral development, you know the meaning of these 17 sustainable development goals, these PRI principles for responsible investment. And we are working on the same field with United Nations, the European community, of course, with EPP family, and of course with SME, because we believe that creating a network is the only way to do something with a powerful efficacy. So we offer special attention, of course, to all the aspects about ecology, global warming, climate change, pollution, you know all this. But with this approach of ESG that you know very well, because we are trying to develop an approach of integral ecology. Some conclusions, just to be very concrete about the points we could develop together. And of course, we will have more conference like this to be more concrete about the specific projects we can develop together. And we are so happy that also we have in this conference Srita, because we are thinking about Latin America. And of course, Alberto Zilio, because we will continue working with all the field of communication. AT&T is an amazing leader. And Mario Mantovani, because we are looking for the leaders of the managers in the entrepreneurial activities. Okay, Mantovani represents the president, more than 4,000 managers in Italy, and we are working on quality, okay? And the same with Hiromi, of course, Hiromi Ota, because Japan is a leader, it's a driver. And so this of Asia, thanks to Alfonso Montanarini, this is a way to work really with watching the big picture. Let me tell you this, we think that it's really very important to make a strong team building, knowing that China is working with another finalities. We want to be very clear about this. So you can see here some points: the synergy to build networks, as you know, a platform economy to promote ethical finance. We will speak with you perhaps in another conference with values metrics. We are working in a metric to promote common good in a very scientific approach, with very leader players that have a lot of experience on the market. We will have time to show you this in another conference. Of course, we will continue working also with SME Business Club to create this team building, as I told you, and with the logic of the defense of energy and environment, looking for integral ecology. The cooperation with the universities, we think that it's important because science should work together with the entrepreneur approach. Is team building the key? Nobody has the truth in his pocket. We need to work together to define the best option for the human being. And the Holy Father was very clear about this. Try to do your best to think or to disseminate, to show hope in the humanity, because we have a lot of suffering for many reasons. Try to do something positive for everybody. We have a very important master in the European University of Rome, just to think about finance and real economy. And in this moment, I think is one of the most important master in Italy. It's a very high level, intellectual high level, thanks to also Professor Brambilla. And we will continue working also with this scientific approach and with many other conferences. And just to finish these elements, concrete initiatives to promote best practices. This is very important. Communication, we start the conference speaking about the importance of communication, putting together the leaders. Let's try to speak about best practices. And we have a lot of best practices in the EPP organization and party. And let's try to promote not only bad news, but all the positive news that the human being are developing right now. Of course, the synergy with SME Connect and emerging markets to develop specific activities also for Africa. We are working in this side, and we will develop together step by step also some activities in this field. And Latin America, because we have very strong experience with Latin America. We already are working with Chile, Brazil, Mexico, and the metrics we want to present to the big corporations, to the embassies, to the chambers of commerce, is something that we could do also from Spain to Latin America in order to promote this in 1 billion inhabitants. And course, the creation of work in Japan, because thanks to Hiromi, Alfonso Montanarini, we have this possibility to interact with this amazing nation that is, of course, leader, speaking about robotics, artificial intelligence, and many fields. We really love this culture. And we could develop many, many things together. You can see here some publications. We don't have the time to see this, but just to let you know that behind every sentence we present you, we have a laboratory working on research, because it's very important to create this scientific approach. I have finished my presentation, just to say thank you really for this amazing opportunity. Thank you to all our friends for the collaboration on this amazing goal for the good of the human being. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Javier, for the excellent comprehensive presentation focused on activity of Core Values org. And also thank you for inspiration, because I think it's crucial that we need to have some inspirations when we want to change our situation and avoid the situation and come from the logic of damage control to the new humanism, as you have mentioned. It's crucial, especially when the technology is growing up and there are many new challenges. We need to find some benefits, but on the other hand, we need to manage all those threats, which are also clear for all of us. And thank you very much for information and about your world global activity, because I think it's very, very important. Now we can move to the panel. So thank you very much, Javier, again. I hope that at the final part of our discussion, we will have time for some questions and answers. And now I want to give the floor to Horst Heitz, Senator of the European Economic Senate and Special Representative for SMEs of the European taxpayers. Horst, the floor is yours, and please.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much to invite me to this very important conference. I think Core Value is a very good initiative, and I like very much after this presentation, Javier, that this practical and positive approach in a global thinking, I think this is very important. And I think what we heard also from the other speakers was very important to keep in mind, that there are universal values, enlightenment, Christianity, of course with different religions, but values who everybody in the world understand and think they are needed. And that also we see that Mr. Steffner said that the human must be in all this technology in the center of attention, that we see the chances but not give up the control, that the humans making the decisions. And also that we keep in mind what Paul Rübig said, innovation and competition is the driver of this. And we should be, as democratic nations, democratic world regions, we have to take the lead. And this is so that we have embraced digitalization as a chance. Otherwise, other will take over with other values, perhaps no values. And if we have to say no, and we say, no, we don't embrace it, the leaders will be there. Everything we remember Dürrenmatt, what scientists are thinking will be done, if you want or not. But we can lead it, and we can challenge in it, and we can give this a worth. I think I want also to see the political dynamic, and I think this was also, Javier, you mentioned, is this of course positive in one way, digitalization, but it has also challenges. It drives us to ethical dilemmas and also chances. It can be hurting values. It can be also helping values to develop. We have the digitalization. If we're going to the free speech, it is a chance in the digital room space that everybody can change his ideas. In the same time, we see that fake news are coming up, that dictatorships wants to influence the opinions. So we saw that dictators in the same way cannot stop the freedom of speech in a digital world. So this is one of the dilemmas. We see also that not all citizens have the same, or all world regions have the same benefit out of digitalization. And this we have also to keep in mind. There is a time of transition, and transition we learned from the history, from the industrial age and so on. This has always also conflicts inherited. You can say in the end is a golden age. We will be all living better with digitalization in the end. But until then, we have to keep all humans so far as possible on board. And I think we should keep really the focus on SMEs, because SMEs are employing 60% of the citizens. SMEs are based in the regions and the local economies. And we have to say, SMEs are not only the power cells of the economy, they are also the basic of a strong democracy. Where SMEs are strong, we have a very empowered citizens. If we have no SMEs or low SMEs, then we have to say also democracy is often a problem in this societies. And we have to see this practical approach is very important, because in Europe, 50% of SMEs have no website. We're speaking about artificial intelligence, but the basics are missing. Speaking about data we have to use, but who is helping these SMEs to use the data? We have also to see that SMEs are often also related with a generation conflicts, not conflicts, chances, problems. In Italy, the majority of SMEs owners are over 60. So you can see in Eastern Europe, we have much younger entrepreneurs and then fast embracing of new technologies. So I want not to say that all the people are slower with technologies, but it is clear that there is a relation between how you're embracing and are you on board on new technologies. Then if you're going then forward, it means also education must be included. It means the focus of humans again. We can have the best technologies if the humans cannot use it in the majority. So education is very important, but then we have to think SMEs are working the same time they have to educate. So if you run a business and then you have to learn, this means also time. Then you have also to see that if you're coming there, that in these chances, of course, that digitalization means also a new way to work and new way to lead and a new relation to the clients and customers. We can include the future of work. What is this now? We see this with COVID-19, that we are working now at home remote, but it's not everywhere possible. It depends what it is. Tourism sector needs to work with people, but also there digitalization can help. But it means to decision making, how to work in teams at SMEs. This is a learning process. And then to include ethic and values in this working life is very important. This is the time of this right of disconnect. At the same time, to work when you want. This is also, where is the place of your family there? If you're working at home, where is the separation of private life and working life? Then we're going forward, of course, that also before digitalization, SMEs were to 90% business to business. With digitalization, e-commerce and so on, it's shifting to business to consumers. What is an enormous change of the empowerment of SMEs if you have to directly contact with clients. But this, what means this? It means also that we have to change also the communication, social selling, social media is something what is coming now in the culture of SMEs. And then means also if you're going this way of social communication via digitalization also new ethics. What is the consumer rights? How you can interact with them in a proper way. And then, of course, we see that we have to give this environment that these technologies can grow in Europe. Because like we mentioned at the beginning, if we have too strict rules, too over-regulated, in a good sense to protect values, to bring all people on board, we're having also the danger that we are losing our leading approach. We have to prove that we can include values and be on an economic way successful. And I think if we can do this, many in the world will follow us. But you can have the best values if the system has not the output to create work, and also the basics of the fundamental consumption of the people. They will say, okay, Europe is a nice idea, and the values are a nice idea, but it shows it's not working. So make it work together, and I think it's very important that we're here together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Horst. I think it's crucial to understand how important SMEs are. And you have mentioned many dimensions of the functioning of SMEs, and also some deficits, yes, when SMEs have some problems with using digital tools, and we need to change it, because if we want to include all companies, include all kinds of businesses into digital revolution, and put the question about human aspects, human-centric model of this new digital economy and integral ecology, as it was said by Javier. So we need to make this step forward at the area of digitalization of SMEs. So we need to remember about it, and at the same time, we need to consider how to implement core values into economic functioning. Thank you very much, Horst. And now I want to give the floor, to give the screen to Srita Haide, founder, CEO, Srita Haide International, EU Business Advisor, Special Representative Diversity, SME Europe of EPP, member of Consultative Committee Industrial Change of the European Social and Economic Committee, and Chair Working Group Emerging Markets. So you have, I think, many options and perspectives to look at some issues which are important for our discussion about values. Please, Srita, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this business philosophy discussion, and it's so important in this age of digitalization. And it's an honor to be here, and good morning, everybody, honorable speakers, honorable members of the SME Europe and SME Connect, and dear participants. I was really fascinated after Xavier's presentation, and I mean, how often do we connect digitalization, the challenges of our business and trade, with philosophy and human values? And it's so very important, because actually each and every technology that we have on our agenda and we need to implement, take our business and trade forward, is actually a human creation. And we do carry our responsibility. So while introducing me, there were so many titles. The important thing is that while preparing, I had a very long conversation with Xavier, and we said that because I work very much focused on European Union and emerging markets. So I just would like to reflect my thoughts on how we can strengthen the relationship working between the European Union and emerging markets, and not forgetting our human responsibility. And definitely, you know, also not forgetting the role of SMEs. So just to summarize, we all know that European Union is very much focused on connecting social, political, and economic fields. And our objective is to focus on sustainable and inclusive growth. So we are going through a phase of a digital transition, climate and green transition. And we are trying to develop a European digital platform which is enabling us, digital education, automation, creating smart cities, high capacity broadband infrastructure, artificial intelligence. We would like also to be very much self-sufficient in terms of healthcare, pharmacy, life science. That is also on our agenda, where we connect European Union and emerging markets a lot. And the infrastructure development in terms of transport and logistic, energy, everything is on our agenda. And we realize very often that there are many challenges in the emerging markets around the globe, and there are many technology solutions in Europe. So how do we bring it together? Where do we take the responsibility? And how do we define our responsibility? We have the Horizon Europe, which is enabling us also to handle global challenges and industrial modernization. We need to have more importance, give more importance on research and development and innovation, as Dr. Rubik said. And at the same time, while developing collaboration and cooperating with non-EU countries, we should always be aware of our European Union quality and standards. And we would also like to partner with like-minded democracies outside Europe. And so, when we collaborate, cooperate, develop business, trade, and social relationship with other regions and continents, we should always see that there is a need. We have a need in order to achieve our set objectives and goals within the European Union. So we have a demographic problem. We need, also resource and capacities in terms of digitalization of society. We need to create labor market in terms of developing skill labors, and we need to, also develop more good relationship in terms of education and collaboration in terms of startups, science and technology, while creating a strategic relationship between EU and emerging markets. We should not forget that there are two regions where the focus is there, so that we can have a very, very strategic agenda. The two regions are BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, but it's concluding also gradually other African nations. And the new agenda on the European Union strategy is the Indo-Pacific strategy, which is covering all the countries, taking from Afghanistan to the Southeast Asian belt, up to Australia, New Zealand, Philippines, Japan. So it's very nice to have a representative from Japan over here. So while we collaborate and cooperate with all these regions, we should always, have a very focused agenda, understanding what we can learn from each other and how we can complement each other, because complementing each other motivates us to develop a strategic agenda. And another important aspect which I have learned in the past years is that the European Union is very much involved in investing on various development projects. And these development projects should be very much focused on projects which are enabling jobs, developing better healthcare systems, access to education to girls and boys, and partnering with like-minded democracies is something which I really say several times, or repeat it actually, because where equality is valued, our value system is also then respected. And the rule of law, it is important that we always focus that we are partnering with regions and nations and societies where there is a rule of law, adhering to the existence law, where citizens are allowed to participate in democracies and are allowed to be part of the change and part of making things happen. So this is something, food for thought, how we can collaborate, cooperate between EU, Latin America, Africa, Asia, which is very, very important, because we need to play a very important role in the global competition and be a leader in thought leadership. So I would like to keep it here and looking forward to a discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Srita, for all the information. And I think it's important how to describe the role of the European Union and Europe and some relations with Latin America and emerging markets. I think it's crucial when we are discussing about transmission of values. Yes, so I think especially in the digital age. Now I want to give the screen Alberto Zilio, Director Public Affairs Europe of AT&T. So please, it's your turn.
Thank you, Michael, and it's great to be here. I just wanted to thank Core Values team with Marco, Javier, and Alfonso, and of course SME Connect with Horst that I see, and a lot of other friends that I see on the screen. Look, I'm going to be very short because I think there is a lot of that have been said, and I practically agree with a lot. But I would say, let me start by saying that unfortunately I don't work for an SME, but we were some time ago an SME as well, so we understand where we are coming from. But we kept, I would say, that kind of spirit in the sense of working together with SMEs and especially with values. So first point that I would like to cover, and that has been shown by the pandemic, is what is digital inclusion. No, so the COVID has shown us that absolutely what is essential is access to technology. And when I talk about technology, we talk about really basic needs, and that basic need is broadband access and broadband connectivity. So access is important to business, to governments, to students, to everybody that is going to compete in the new era, basically, that we are living here. Just showing some data in the US, at least 25% of rural Americans, so people that are living that in rural areas, they don't have access to broadband. But also, in the EU, the situation sometimes is more or less the same, in the sense that we have more or less 58 million EU citizens that they never use broadband at all. So we have a problem of access there. What I mean by that is, of course, if this digital divide is growing especially for people that have disabilities, people of color, people that are in rural areas, that are in under-resourced neighborhoods. And since we are talking about values today, I think, and we value equity of all people, we just have to work together to close this gap. Otherwise, this digital divide is going to increase, and of course, is going to impact on socio-economic gaps that are going to ultimately develop into inequality around the globe. So how to work on that? I think we have to prioritize having an harmonized regulatory approach of policy framework, but that is basically what I gather in today other speech, and working on multi-stakeholder bodies that promote broadband access to the world. Second point, of course, that has been touched by different speakers, I think also Horst mentioned it, it's very important, is the digital literacy. No? Because, of course, the disparities between the use and the knowledge around the digital literacy varies a lot. And if you want to build and invest in the digital age, you need to have skills. Where is the problem? In some also reports showed by the European Commission, for example, it mentioned in 2019, half of the EU population was unable to perform basic tasks like connecting to a Wi-Fi network. By the same time, we are estimating that 9 out of 10 future jobs, they require digital skills. So we have to close as well this gap. So we are thinking creatively inside AT&T how to close this gap. We are retraining our employees. and we launched different initiatives, especially during the COVID. We put together 500 million for education-centric programs. We gave 10 million for online learning resources for parents, for students and teachers. And also we help out 800 students in underserved communities to date. That is to mention that we are doing our bits, but more, of course, have to be done. And as I mentioned before, I think the key is working together here. Third point that I would like to mention that has been also covered a little bit by Javier in his presentation is climate change. There, I think it's very important for all of us to improve sustainability, but in general, how we define business going forward. For what concerns us, we work together with the US Department of Energy in order to assess how the climate change is changing the business and so on. We went so deep that basically we came out with the commitment to be carbon neutral by 2035. That is actually very advanced compared to other companies around the world. And we are very proud of that. Also because it's going to serve our customers in a much more efficient way. And we are already at 75% of our network that is being managed by virtual use, and this is going to in order to serve our customer, we are going to deploy new capabilities faster, utilize less energy, and of course lower the greenhouse emission there. So this is going to help us a lot reducing emission associated with redundant processing, equipment, storage, and also on. So also there we are putting together a good plan going forward. And let's say last point that I would like to cover is really values in practice. We listened to some aspect of this before, and a lot of multi-stakeholder approach I listened during the presentation. One thing that I would like to stress is, of course, the importance of a transatlantic relation between Europe and US to cover this. But of course, we have a commitment and we have, let's say, a role as an international community to play in order to place values and people at the center of our choices. And this is what I think in part the business world is going forward this track and doing much better job that we have done in the past. So first of all, we have to, I think, provide and protect market access. That has been, I think, covered by other speakers, but I think allowing companies to provide services on a non-discriminatory basis and without joint venture or local presence requirements or aspect of cultural carve-outs is very important to promote equity. Second point, I think, is very important to promote a strong intellectual property regime, especially when it comes to online privacy, piracy there, and otherwise we are running the risk of diminishing the creativity industry, and we are locking out the creators and the innovators of the world that Paul was mentioning before. And of course, last point, I think we have to ensure good digital trade measures. Trade is important. Of course, promoting cross-border data flow is going to be very important, especially for SMEs. As Horst was saying, more than 60% are SME in Europe. So it's very important also to promote these products and services around the world. And second point, and last point, I think, is working as an ecosystem to create a vibrant market for digital products and services. And for that, we need transparent, fair, and market-driven rules for global commerce. So I think it's very, let's say, easy to predict what the world is going to look like after the COVID situation, because everybody is going to agree that we will have more digital and more digital world in that space. But for doing that, we have to remain grounded in our values to ensure that we are making sure that we are making our communities better and provide real benefit of emerging technology and innovation around the world. And I will stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alberto. I think we need to remember about those deficits and gaps you have mentioned related to problems of avoiding exclusion, yes, in many areas. So thank you very much for the presentation of your work, of AT&T work on accessibility, because I think it's crucial. Accessibility and digital literacy are important, and during COVID time, of course, I think we are changing the societies because we are using digital tools more and more. But this is a question how it will be after, what kind of hybrid world we will have, and what kind of our behaviors and what kind of our values will be dominated with this message and idea from Javier. It should be human-centric. Thank you very much. And now I want to turn to Mario Mantovani, President of SIDA and Manager Italia. The screen is yours, Mario, please.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning to everybody. I'm very happy and proud to be here today with you. I believe that core values has a very important role in making us aware of what the meaning of the transformation that are occurring in our world are today. And I'm also very happy to meet the SME Connect. I believe that such organizations are very important and they fill the gap between the role of the state and the individual freedom that often occupy the debate in Europe too. But the true role of promoting a better society belongs to such type of organization. The organized society is the engine of a modern and developed society around the world. And in Europe, we have a leadership in this. When we talk about digital transformation, technologies, financial issues, and new operation, we often forget to focus on the dimension which encompasses all these issues, which is the organization. At the organization level, we meet human, personal, individual, and technological financial issues. We need to put them all together. This multidimensional approach helps us to develop skills and competencies and to measure the quality and the success of our organization, the sustainability of their success from time to time. And the international expansion that we experienced in the last years, which goes under the name of globalization, has been an incredible and very important movement to develop quality in the management, which is the sector I am working with. So the most part of the managers in Europe have been grown up in such a behavior, growing their company very often small and medium, becoming then international companies, and in some cases big and global organizations. 2/3 of the managers in the private sector of CIDA and Manager Italia work in small and medium enterprises, and they've experienced, my generation has experienced this development. What has been globalization? Has not only been a great movement which fostered qualitative management growth. It's been, from its very beginning, very focused on local behavior. I remember that we were talking about code of conducts, languages, symbols, religion too, because it was very clear at the beginning that the success, the economic success, was tied to the way in which our enterprises could become a part of the society they were entering in. It was not simply exporting goods or establishing organization abroad. Maybe it was a too simplistic approach, but it was conceived as a process similar to the inculturation. What I mean with inculturation, Pope John Paul II in his encyclical Slavorum Apostoli defines it as the incarnation of the gospel in indigenous cultures, and at the same time, their introduction into the life of the church. It was a similar process, but not the content, obviously. The content was different, and this is the problem. So we should not focus on the process. The process is not to blame, it's the content that's the matter. So going global is neither good or bad, but it depends on what we share and how deeply we are concerned about its effects. So it depends in the end on our values. If profit is a value, not a means, the effects are predictable. We can expect what happens. This is what happened. But we are more or less at the end of the season we call globalization, and new models are emerging of international business management. I believe that Europe has good quality management and currently, and our generation has transformed the European economic space into a domestic one for the most part. And we have passed to our sons and daughters an idea of Europe without internal borders, though not hiding our differences. And this is a great value, I believe. But such quality came from our professional and managerial skills. And the measure of success was business growth and profitability, which is not bad in itself, but it's a means, it's not a goal. So we have therefore investigated how to set true goals, which encompass environmental, social, economic, and governance issues. So we call them ESGs. ESG principles are the outcome of such process and represent a measurable, factual way to drive organization toward a more sustainable world. But we're still talking at quality level. We should broaden the scope of our action, but we need to go deeper. To jump to excellence in business management comes with the awareness of our key values. When we interpret our attitudes and orient our actions, values are called, has always been called, virtues. So this is the starting point of a new learning path. What we need in business management in particular is a new learning path, which is not only based on new technologies, a new form of organization, innovative finance, but goes deeper in ourselves, in our conscience. I have some doubts about the road that has been taken in Europe in particular, which is based on analytical rules, strict regulation, formal codes of conduct, compliance offices. They're useful, but could lead us out of the way. Sometimes we have followed this road in Europe, maybe too far. I believe that human sustainable virtues applied to the business environment should become the core of a new learning path that encompasses managers, entrepreneurs, politicians, social operators in one set of in one path, one common path that we should identify. We should identify the direction to lead to. Nobody can do it by himself, and we cannot count only on a few visionary, excellent leaders that we sometimes have in our countries, because social organization need to take the lead. We should gather and orient the available energies that exist, of course, in our countries. We represent, communicate, and pursue the interests of our managers, as other organizations do with their affiliates. But interest, what is interest today? Which interest can be bigger than aiming at living in a better world with more justice, health, wealth, solidarity. This is the true interest of our people and our managers too. So our social organization must go out from our boundaries, the boundaries of our direct, immediate, and material interest. If we share the same goals, we must work together. We must set up a community, exchange our experiences and our resources. Because excellence in the end is a matter of fullness, and we're still far from it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mario, for this excellent presentation of you and raising the questions related to managerial skills. But when you have talked about and presented the view on this new learning path, you have mentioned not only skills, we are very often discussing about skills, but you have also mentioned the attitudes, which is crucial for values, yes, because at the same time when we are changing our skills, we need to develop our attitudes, our openness, our mind. So this is related to the core values. And now, thank you very much. And now I want to turn to our last panelist, last but not least, Hiromi Ota. So it's very, very interesting and important that we are discussing on those issues, transmission of values in the digital age, not only from the perspective of Europe, United States, transatlantic views, but we are trying to take into account the experiences from Latin America and also from Asia, from Japan. So Hiromi, please, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you for having me, and thank you for wonderful presentation from all of you. Actually, first of all, let me add my sum of, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Sorry. Okay. First of all, let me add the sum of my job as architect. That's why I chose some of the topic from Japan Digital Agenda. So therefore, let me tell those of research. And in 2020, Japan stood as the world's third largest economy that includes a top of education system, leadership in sectors such as industrial and automobile manufacturing, high quality infrastructure, as well as professional infused with strong work ethic and repeatable methods to produce high quality goods and services. However, in 2020, the country ranked 27th in digital competitiveness and 22nd in digital talent. And it has single-digit penetration in areas as e-commerce, mobile banking, and digital government service usage. The country has produced just 5 out of more than 500 unicorn startups globally. These metrics fall short of Japan's full potential. A collective effort from multiple key stakeholders is required to drive Japan digitalization forward. The education system, the incumbent industry sectors of the economy, the government, the startup ecosystem, and the technological community that includes Japan's major system integrators. Let's talk about Japanese endowment, about the inherent assets and capabilities of country, such as talent, resources, infrastructure. Robotic and hardware excellence and deep engineering culture. According to the International Federation of Robots, Japanese manufacturers delivered just over half of the global robot supply in 2017 and have nearly 300,000 robots to give them the second largest installed base after China. Number 2, I chose execution excellence. Execution excellence. Japanese companies such as Toyota have historically pioneered small ways of working. Such manufacturing, lean manufacturing, and just-in-time manufacturing. That's Toyota called. Japanese companies are renowned for their high-quality products at the Made in Japan label. Big move. Government and industry collaborate to scale smart cities, building on Japanese public infrastructure endowment. Toyota is building a small city to test AI robots and self-driving cars. Toyota Motor Corp has unveiled plans for a 2,000-person city in the future, where it will test autonomous vehicles, smart technology, and robot-assisted living. This ambitious project debut as Urban City is set to break ground next year in the foothill of Japan's Mount Fuji, about 60 miles from Tokyo. Akio Toyoda, CEO, described in the new city as a living laboratory that will allow researchers, scientists, and engineers to test emerging technology in a real-life environment. Also, he said, when the people, buildings, and vehicles are connected and communicating with each other, we will be able to test AI technology in both the virtual and the physical world, maximizing its potential. That means Toyota wants to turn artificial intelligence into intelligence amplified. The city is described as full sustainable. The company said it's by hydrogen fuel cells. Only fully autonomous and zero emission cars will be permitted to operate on its street. It's very important, no pollute environment, engine, motor, not to exhaust waste. Urban City is expected to be home to 2,000 people. It will be designed by Danish architecture firm BIG. With regard to Japan progress in green ICT, firstly, while Japan made improvements, secondly, much of the progress was perceived as being driven by external factors. COVID-19 forced transmission to remote work. So in 2030, the Japan story could be one of the most inspirational transformation of our time. Japan has the right endowment with small citizens and quality assets. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It's important to know what is going on in Japan, yes, with this digital strategy 2030, very comprehensive list of activities in many areas. And I think it's important because it's the good experience and the good case of joining the technology development with ethical and cultural development. So I think it's crucial. Now we have no time for further bigger discussion, but I want to give the floor to Javier for the final comment on today's webinar. Very inspirational, and I think very important for the future discussions on technological challenges. Javier, please, your final comment at our webinar, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just 1 minute, 2 minutes, of course, to say thank you to everybody. I'm speaking according also with our president, Marco Frattini, and all our team, Panarini, Enrico, our president, Maurizio Grifoni. And thank you very much for all your ideas, for this goodwill to share together something in which we believe as human beings. It's a question of really goodwill and good values for everybody. We have been speaking here about the beauty of the human being in all the different cultures with different identities, different languages, but always human being. And this is the best approach for each one of us and our families. This social approach, we have seen also that should be something very concrete, because at the end, we need to speak about real economy, the quality of life, local and global, of every person, every family. So we need to continue working together, and it's an honor for us to collaborate with SMEs Connect and SMEs Europe, because EPP family is the common ground for us, because here we can speak about human values, and this is the right approach. We will continue offering you, and thank you for this, more conferences in order not only to debate about these arguments, because I think that we have a very good positive approach, each one of us, but also to promote best practices. It's time to say something positive, and we have many positive aspects in Europe, many positive aspects in our specific organization at SMEs and as a EPP party and family. And next time we will have another important conference that we will organize thanks to Horst. And thank you, Horst, for all your help. And to continue promoting these values also with the Holy See, with the Vatican, because it's not only a question of a Christian approach, it's an international, global, humanistic approach. So we need really to develop a team building, working together with professionalism, as President Mario Mantovani was speaking about, how to manage the way we manage our activities, the new goals, the companies, the international approach, and putting together finance and real economy. this should be something amazing because, of course, in this digital age, digitalization and technology are our drivers because this is going to change lifestyle and also culture. So it's important that we have our eyes very open in order to do the best for our families, for each one of us, for our nations, and be sure that Core Values is really so happy to stay here. We are collaborating right now in 43 nations where we have representative friends and co-workers. So our international networking is present here with you to continue developing all these new activities. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you, President Paul and President Ivan Stefanek, for having us here, and thank you, Horst, for all your collaboration, and to you, Michael Bonney, for this amazing moderation and coordination. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Javier, for your excellent presentation and final comments. I think it's crucial for the future. And at the end, let's share with my experience, because I think it's crucial, how the world is changing. Now we are discussing about core values in the age of very fast digitalization. I remember that in Solidarity movement, when I have been a young scientist, and when the martial law was installed in Poland at the beginning of 1982, we have decided with priest Popieluszko and some journalists to establish the Workers' University. And I have presented in this Workers' University in church, it was clandestine activity. The Laborem Exercens encyclic, very important for the John Paul II, the Pope, but on the other hand, very important for the workers' rights. So I think we are going from workers' rights to keeping human control over technologies. So thank you very much. This is the same history. This is the human history, and we need to continue. So thank you very much, Javier and Core Values Org for inspirational presentation today and for the discussion. Thank you to the audience. And just at the end, I want to say, have a good day today. Thank you very much.